properties of elements in the same period. We are still studying periodicity of elements. Like we said before, periodic table is classified basically into two, which are groups and the period. We have 8 groups and we have 7 periods. We have discussed that elements in the same group, all will have the same number of valence electrons. Now, elements in the same period, don't forget that the period takes the horizontal row of the periodic table. Horizontal row. That's we have period 1, period 2, period 3, up to period 7. So elements in the same period, they will have the same number of electronic shell. They will have the same number of electronic shell. Don't forget that electronic configuration is just talking about arrangement of electrons around the shell of an atom. So if an atom has one shell, it is qualified to be placed in period 1. If it has 6 shells, it is qualified to be placed in period 6. Elements in the same period have the same number of electronic shell. Please don't confuse it with elements in the same group. Elements in the same group will always have the same number of valence electrons. Let us see. Like I told you, we have 7 periods. Element of if I want to give example now and ask you to find the period to which that element belongs, I may ask you to consider calcium, consider potassium, consider beryllium, consider carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus. Let us see their period. Let us consider the period to which these elements belongs to, assuming you don't know. Calcium, I'm doing the summary of electronic structure of an atom using KLY. Calcium is 20, potassium is 19, beryllium is 4, carbon 6, nitrogen 7, and phosphorus is 15. So calcium now is 2, 8, and 2. Remember, first shell is 2, second is 8, third is this, and fourth is that one now. Potassium is 2, 8 and what? 1. Beryllium, 2 and what? 2. Carbon, 2 and 4. Nitrogen, 2 and 5. Phosphorus, 2, 8, and 5. If you consider, this is their, remember that atomic number is the number of protons. And you know that every atom has the same number of protons. In fact, every atom has an equal number of protons and electrons. And that is why they always say that an atom is electrically equal to 0. Because the number of protons equals number of electrons. So if I am considering calcium to be 20, it means it also has 20 electrons. So that is what we are putting in. If you add all these things, you get 20. If you add all these things, you get 19 accordingly. So we are discussing characteristics of elements in the same period. I said elements in the same period, they will have the same number of electronic shells. If you consider calcium, calcium has how many shells? 1, 2, 3, 4. Calcium has 4 shells. 4 electronic shells, which means calcium is qualified to be placed in period 4. This one has also 4 shells. So potassium is also qualified to be placed in period 4. Beryllium has 2 shells. So beryllium is qualified to be placed in period 2. This one 2 shells, this one 2 shells, and this one is what? 3 shells. Which means without being told, this is how to do it. Even if you see such question in OBJ, consider these things and state the period to which they belong to. Consider their electronic structures. The number of shells they have is where they are situated in the periodic table. If it has 4 shells, it should be placed in period 4. This one that has three shells is qualified to be placed in period 3. Don't forget that you can as well find out where an element belongs to when you consider the electronic structures. That is what we are going to show in our next video. Stay tuned.